This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. So I get asked in the comments by some of you folks to kind of check stuff out fairly regularly, and I have to say the Zoom MultiStomp to me has been one of the things that I've bought this year which I feel like could have a place in most people's rigs, right? It's this tiny little box, probably unplug that for this, and I kind of had a suspicion about what this might be useful for. And to be honest with you, I sort of thought it wouldn't be that much. The one kind of negative that I have around this would be that you've got a mono input. You've got stereo output, but mono input. So for me, what I'm thinking that this could be useful for might be putting after the HX Stomp, or maybe putting in the loop of the HX Stomp to kind of give me access to some of these delays, reverbs and stuff that could really free up some DSP. So although in the intro here you heard me using it for everything, so I was using the 2 rock mostly in here and a little bit of the matchless, basically this is like a full modeler in a tiny size, so you can build these little signal chains and using all of the algorithms in here. I guess the most obvious parallel to me is, I think, something like the Eventide H9, although the benefit of this is you can run multiple algorithms, or, you know, any of the kind of typical modelers, but obviously this is just in a simple pedal format. The interface on it is not super easy to use, and this actually runs backwards compared to most modelers, right? The signal goes this way through it and you build your signal chain. So don't make the mistake I did. So your signal chain will go something like drives, compressors, then amp, then reverb, then delay if you want the stereo-ness. So don't get it the other way around, otherwise everything is going into the amp in here. So that's just one little thing. It's not super easy to use, but what I do like about it, it's got this super cool feature, which is this switching mode where basically you put letters next to the presets that you want to be switching between. So you have like A, B, C, D. And so what I was thinking you could do is, if you had sort of 4 main presets that you used on this, so maybe you had one that was a nice delay, one that was the super cool particle reverb, these sorts of things, you could just switch between them. Or you could even have like a dry preset between them. So you could have like A would be a preset, B would be an empty preset, so it's just like straight through, C could be your next preset, D could be straight through. It's really quite clever like that, and you could then set up these kind of set lists yourself before each gig. It's a total Swiss Army knife of a pedal. Of course, super cheap, but I think for things like delays and reverbs, I think this sounds definitely good enough. Things on there like the particle verb I really like. Let me just show you some of this. I think the amp modeling to me sounds a little bit 2D. Doesn't necessarily have much in the way of dynamics, but I think it can sound pretty decent, to be honest. I thought it would sound worse than it does. Well, let me know in the comments if you use one of these, if it's ended up on your board. This is the second kind of video I've done with it. I was sort of playing with it last night. I just think it's a really neat little idea. I don't necessarily think it's perfect, but for the money, this is just an incredible little piece of gear, I think. HX Stomp, I've just got a Lone Star clean and dry. And if I cycle through with the Multi-Stomp, I've got my particle verb. Then I can cycle through, and then I've got an empty preset, so it's back to just dry. Cycle through by just pressing the button. Now I press the button again, I've got El Capistan. Then back to empty. Back to particle verb. Empty. I think it's a really, really neat idea. I wish it had an editor, and in some ways, you know, I think there are other ways that this could be improved. Like the Eventide H9 came around at the same sort of time. That's got an app on it. The one sort of downside, maybe relative between this and the H9, is that you can't run sort of multiple algorithms at a time on the H9. And of course, I think there'd be a quality difference you'd expect between Eventide and Zoom. But I really think this is quite a cool little form factor. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you got one? Have you tried one? What do you use it for? This is totally something that I could see, you know, having in the gig bag as kind of a Swiss Army knife of things where I need a reverb and delay on this, and I don't have space in my preset for this, or I need something quick and easy to chuck in the loop of an amp. I'm going to try that in a bit. It seems to me like this sort of thing could work. I don't know if it's the most transparent pedal ever. I don't know if it's the most quality converters ever. I don't think it's got the best amp modeling ever. But I do think it's got some really usable sounds in there. The delays and reverbs, I think, can sound pretty cool. And for the price, I'm not sure there's anything out there quite as cool as this in such a compact little unit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, if you would. Feel free to like and subscribe, and catch you in another video soon. Cheers.